Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches. I'm Kristen, and with me I have
Erica. Maria.
Erica's drinking a beer. Watch
Erica
out.
can drink again. She ain't pregnant no
She
more.
ain't pregnant no- This is a book podcast. We swear, we spoil, we talk about sex, we suck at podcasting, and this week, this is a big one.
Oh,
This is a doozy.
baby.
And honestly, if you are somebody who drinks,
You might want
you
to.
might want to crack something open as well.
You might
Want to crack something open as well, because this is a big episode.
I've been fucking holding my tongue.
She has. She's been holding it
We're a
in.
little late. We're a little
God
late.
damn you.
A little.
Do people care? Like, do people care about this?
This episode?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Because, like,
I think so.
I don't. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
kidding.
jeez.
Oh
my God.
I'm kidding.
I think so. I think people have been waiting for this episode.
All right. This week we're doing Crescent City numero 3, which is, what is it called?
House of Earth and Blood.
House of Earth.
No.
That's a
House
Flame
of-
and Shadow.
First one.
Flame
House
and
of Flame and
Shadow.
Shadow. Sorry, guys. Too many names.
That's my number one complaint about this series.
The names?
I fucking hate the names of these
Everything
books.
is something and something these days in these
It's
types.
not even
At least
that.
not a
It's
chord
like,
of.
I just don't remember what the books are called. So again, what's the PR here?
It's called Crescent City 3. That's what we're going
But
with.
that's what I mean. Like, what's the PR here where, like, I don't even fucking know the name of the book?
They don't care.
They
Like,
don't
it's-
care.
Honestly, I feel
Nobody
the same about
cares.
Game of Thrones too, though. Like House of, I just don't give a fuck. Like
The first book
Game of Thrones is
the-
Game of Thrones.
The first book of Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones.
That's what I'm saying. And then what are the next ones? Like we've got fucking
And then it's called the
Fire
Game of
and
Thrones
Ice
series.
and
Like-
like all these
No, no,
things.
The
but
series is
it's
called
a Game of Thrones.
Song
But
of
isn't
Ice
the
and Fire.
series of Crescent City called Crescent City? Like this is
Yes.
Crescent City 3.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I don't care.
Yes.
Now listen, I try.
I
This is. Let's talk. Let's
Wait a
recap.
Give the disclaimer.
Let's recap.
Give the warning
What's the warning?
that it's going to be just hell.
It is going to be hell. No, but if you're coming here and you're like, I want to know the plot of Crescent City 3, what the fuck is wrong with you? A. B.
Why would you think we would tell you the plot?
B.
Yeah, it is
Everything here is going to be convoluted, and if you don't like conversations between 3 women who are going to bitch, moan, probably go off topic at least 65 times,
Yeah.
then you don't want to be here.
Minimum.
Okay, I set that up, so don't yell at me in the comments saying these girls suck. I told you.
You can. It's fine.
But I told you that. You got the warning. 2, I want to give a disclaimer for myself and just do a little lore recap. Crescent City 1, I tried. Couldn't do it. Hated that fucking book. Crescent City 2, didn't even try. Listen to Carrie Can Read recap. Carrie Can Read, I love you.
An
if you're
angel among humans.
She's the best. That helped me get through
Book 2.
actually the first one and the second one. And then now here we are, book 3. Carrie Can Read put out a 5-hour long video.
I watched every minute of it.
Okay, so I didn't, but I did rewatch the first one. And I wrote myself a map
Can I have that
slash,
real quick?
it's not really a map, but it is information that I needed
It's like a Venn diagram.
in order
almost.
to
Wow.
figure out what the fuck is
This
going
girl
on.
did homework.
So to figure out what the world is, so yeah, Midgard versus, we'll get into all that, I imagine, maybe. I don't know.
Are you doing a 60-second? Like, are you gonna tell us the plot?
I thought you were looking at me. I was like,
No,
baby
I'm
girl.
looking at her.
Me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Are you actually gonna give a plot?
Okay,
or
wait.
are you gonna get mad about it? Because I could just do it. I could. Do
I
the
need
6
more
seconds.
background on both of you now. Did you read this a long time ago?
A long time ago.
Did you
She's
reread
still
it?
mad about it.
What?
Did you reread it
No.
before this
Why would she?
podcast? That's not a good news at all. Did you read this recently?
I did.
Did you skip a lot of words?
In the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing.
oh,
Here
yeah.
we
This
go.
is a book podcast, okay? And you're coming in here, we're going to talk about this book. Erica read this book like a year ago and skipped so many words. So that's the opinion that you're getting from her. I just want you to keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Maria at least read the book
Read the whole
recently,
thing,
read the whole
and
thing,
watched
and
the
watched
whole
the recap.
plot summary.
So maybe you
all
should do the
5
60
hours.
So I'm not listening to any
So
fucking
that's
thing
what I'm
you say.
saying. Maybe I should do the 60 seconds because at that point, like, I can try to give us like the main plot lines, and you can just go on your tangent. Because at the
True.
same time,
I need something to
I'm
work with.
here-
If she does it, I'm
exactly,
fucked.
I'm here to listen to this rant.
Yeah.
She has not divulged to Kristen or I
No,
the hate
I don't
she
know
has.
anything.
We have been holding
Okay,
out for this.
so
But like at
I
the
just
same
wanna give
time,
you the frame of
she's not a
reference.
valuable or trustable
She's a
source.
not-
I want to. I want to
Reliable
give you.
narrator.
I want to
Yes,
give
thank you. Reliable narrator. That's what I've been looking for this whole time. You are not one.
The context in which. So I gave this book. I gave the
Shouldn't even
first
have
Crescent
rated
City
it.
book 4 stars. I on the first read of the second book, I actually gave it 5 stars. I've since
That's insane.
dropped it down to 3.
What?
Who star drop?
What
Yeah.
happened? You realized you're
Well, just kind of like I was like
Thought harder
you were
about it.
stuck in the vibes.
I think I was like stuck in the vibes, and I was so high off like the Akatar. Like I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so amazing. Like I was so high off of the.
I think that last
the
page
overlap
is what made everyone love that book.
Yes, and I think I like came down from that high, and I was like, this book wasn't that great.
Can't wait to see
Whatever.
what happens with the overlap.
The third book, I rated it 1 star. I have only rated
1 star.
I have
egregious.
only rated. I have read 1,125 books. I have only rated 3 books.
No fucking
1
way.
star.
No fucking
Including
way.
Crescent City?
Including Crescent
No
City.
fucking
What were the
way.
other two?
Yeah, now I kind of want to know the other two.
I think it's Fallen. Do you remember that book?
Oh, the Angels one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did make a good point on Instagram. You're like, I don't read books that I don't like. I mean, to be fair though, I do read books that I don't like, but
We're
just because
forced
of this
to.
podcast, yeah.
Hold on.
You don't usually hate books, Erica.
No, because again, like I don't read books I don't like for the most part.
For the most part.
You won't know if you like it or not.
But you read all of this book.
Oh
right?
wait,
Oh,
4.
The
Sorry,
Elite.
4.
Okay, let's hear them.
Fallen by Lauren Kate. The Elite, which is the second selection book, by Kiera Cass.
God, yeah. I'll never read those.
I don't even want to say this one because I think it's like an indie author. I don't like doing that.
Okay.
Um.
And then Easy 3.
Oh, I actually
Oh.
gave
Yeah, I
the
knew you were
monster
gonna give
that's-
that one.
Oh,
the
and
Tangled
Tangled
Tinsel.
Tinsel.
Oh, and that one.
There's more.
Those are all novellas. Those don't really count.
All right, let's go over Crescent City.
So
3.
3 real. These are real books. You know what I mean? Like
They're all real books.
These are no, but how
They're all real books.
They're
the-
like mass
how the
produced.
monsters
Mass
told me
produced.
on Christmas Eve
It's a
and Tangled
book
and
you
Tinseled
read.
is like a joke.
It's
Those are
considered a
joke
book on
books.
I think
Goodreads.
we're talking about like mass produced versus.
Okay.
To be fair, like those are 3 like I'm calling them real books,
I feel
but
you.
like
I feel you. I
books.
feel you. I feel you.
And what my review says on this book says felt like I got this book on Temu,
I remember this review.
unfulfilling.
Oh my
and
god, not
different
Timu.
in the worst
Temu.
way.
Oh my
When she
god.
said
Did anybody comment on
When
it?
I saw it, she said Timu, I had an audible gasp.
Yeah, Jesus.
I was like,
Wait,
no.
did you hear that? Unfulfilling and different than I expected in all the worst ways?
Did anybody comment on your review?
Yeah, I had 50 likes.
Oh,
Ooh.
So a lot of
okay.
people liked it.
All right, maybe we won't get as roasted this time then.
Okay, so if you, I like looking at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Typically
spread.
when you see a
Closer to
series,
4.
I can't do this again.
typically when you see a series, you see the number, the ratings
higher.
actually go up
Because
only the people who
stay.
like the book
That's true, yeah.
read
They
the
stick
next
around.
books.
That's a good point.
This is how you know a series is bad, is when the numbers go down.
Damn.
And the first CC book sits at like a 4.5-ish.
That's crazy to me.
It's a good book. The first CC book was good. You
It was a
liked it.
fun
You
buy.
actually liked it.
You
I
just
didn't
hated
read
Bryce
it.
being so immature.
Yeah.
You hated the immature language.
The second
Yeah.
CC book, I believe, sits at a 4.3, 4.4, 4.4, 4.4.
And again, I
right?
think only because of the last 20 pages.
And
or
I
20%.
think that really helped it. CC3 sits at a 4.2, which
can't believe
again
these
is
are all so
fucking
above 4.
aggressively
What the
high.
fuck?
But
The most convoluted books of all time.
not a lot of 1-star ratings, to be honest. A lot of
because
3
1
star.
star is pretty hefty.
And
Yeah.
1 star is
There's
like,
a good amount of 2
you're
stars, but
offended.
like,
Mhm.
yeah. I will eventually, after we talk about all of these points, I will tell you how this book, and I don't say this lightly, this is a bad book.
Mm.
And I think it is a factually bad book.
Okay.
And I have
You
points
have evidence?
and evidence to
Oh.
She has a
prove it.
dissertation.
Welcome everybody to Erica's Core. This new segment. If you're new to this podcast, we do this thing where we attempt to explain the entire plot summary of a book in 60 seconds or less. Maria has no easy feat today.
I feel like I've been like really bullied today.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would have noticed.
I feel like I've been
I was trying to move that one along.
single-handedly like targeted
So this week, Maria's doing Crescent City
this
3
week and every week apparently.
by you know who, Sarah J. Maas. All right, Maria, you ready? Doesn't matter.
Never.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
We start off the book with Hunt is in. I didn't mean to start off with the book with that, but anyway, Bryce has gone over to the Akatar land. She is asking Nesta and Reese and all of them for help to get a weapon for the Asteria because the Asteria trying to ruin everything back home. Hunt is like in jail, tortured, him, ruining, yada yada. Eventually, Lydia helps break them out. On the other side, they do a long walk. Bryce does this long walk in the caves with Nesta. They end up getting to this hologram who gives them the entire backstory of the Asteri and how to basically beat them. So Bryce comes back to our regular land. She has a big plan. They have to go find all the the magics of Thea, combine them into one. That's gonna make a big dark black hole that will suck the Asteri in. But sadly, Bryce also gets stuck in there at the end. And then Hunt, using the mecha suits, goes in very Interstellar style and gets her out in a way. And that's kind of how it ends.
Okay.
And they're like
I
fine.
look down at the time.
And they're like fine afterwards.
You did that in exactly a minute.
Yeah, like she becomes a new queen of like the Avalon and the Autumn Court. She kills her dad.
What did he go into with the suits?
The mecha suit. You know the suits.
Yeah, but what did he go into to pull her out?
The black hole she creates. So she creates
in the universe.
She splits the universe open. Basically, there's a big black hole.
Science isn't real here.
She gets sucked into space.
Cell phones are, but science isn't.
She can still breathe. Gets sucked into space, but there's nothing to grab onto in space.
A black hole wouldn't
so she's
shred you.
She's just floating in space.
I can't even read how
with
this
the
is
Asteri also. The Asteri is also one of the Asteri guys, Rigelus or whatever. He like pushes his brother kind of to propel himself towards the entrance or to the entrance back to the world. But Bryce is like, not today, Satan. So she sort of grabs onto him to send him into the thingy, and through that, Bryce. Oh, and she dies. Sorry, she dies, right? And then Jessica, her old boss.
Oh my god, I forgot about her.
Who's like been a witch for like thousands of years. Yeah, the librarian, whatever.
She knew everything.
She knew everything from the jump.
We knew.
Didn't say nothing. And she's like, oh, I'm just gonna give up my life for Bryce's. And Bryce gets like basically resurrected.
Resurrected as if her other two series
don't have
resurrection in them.
Gets resurrected, and then now the Asteri are gone. They have to figure out how to.
Kristen's taking a look at her.
Sorry, I'm just.
And she has to they have to now basically build a new government to now not run on First Light because the Asteri no longer are hoarding the First Light of the people.
Okay.
Or Second Light of the people to power the world. So they have to basically redo the world. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, like Pegasus has come back. Horses with wings.
Oh.
They're back, and because she loves unicorns or whatever, at the end they're like, this is meant for the princess that you are, so let's go see Pegasus's.
Okay.
And she's like, oh my god, yay! And then we end on Therian, I think. Right?
Okay.
Therian trying to find his wife that he gets during the show. I'm sorry, in this book. Sorry, guys. This was probably one of my worst 60 seconds. But
we're way past 60 seconds.
Yeah.
But I think the point is, like, you took something that, Carrie can read did this a 5-hour video.
Carrie can read.
And you just did
it in like 2 minutes?
Sorry.
I mean, 5 hours is a long time.
While I was watching it, I felt that I was more invested in the story when she recaps it.
So I teared up in one of them.
Yeah, she has a way of retelling the story in the way I'm like,
yeah, she just made it into an easier fucking thing to digest. Sarah J. Maas just threw everything at the wall and made these giant books that she didn't have to do.
So it must suck being like famous for that. Like
what?
Because it's so much work.
That is kind of
so much fucking work.
I'm so
do
grateful for her.
For Carrie.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't do other series too. She's done it for a City of Bones series.
No, but imagine people relying
to do those recaps because it's so much writing. It's so much reading.
What's funny is
so much like storytelling, and then like
that seems really hard to do.
And still having to read the book.
Having to read the book, but having to do it on camera. Having to like, I bet you like okay. Let's say that thing's 5 hours long. It probably takes her 30, 40 hours.
It took her days. She was like changing outfits.
Did you know Crescent City is actually Lunation? That's the real name of it.
What?
It's called
Lunathion?
Oh, Lunathion. I can't read my own
I was
handwriting.
like, Lunation. I was like,
I can't read my own
I
handwriting.
don't know about that.
But they never say that, so it got confusing. Okay, Crescent City, book 3. A lot of shit happened. But you did start that off with something I was interested in. So it is a crossover because it ended on book 2. I remember we get an idea of
it's
Feyre.
the worst fucking crossover.
Is
ever.
it really? Because that's what all the hype was
all
for.
They do
it didn't feel like a Marvel moment.
So it was
it would be the equivalent of like you get the whole cast and crew like at the end of like a movie or whatever, right, of Marvel, and then who shows up in the next book is like Black Widow and fucking what's his face, Jeremy Renner's character.
Oh yeah, the arch guy.
like Reese isn't in there that much.
that's the
Farrah's not even in there at all. Much of it.
Wait, but you just said Farrah. So
no, Nesta, her sister.
No, Nesta.
The one with nobody.
It's Nesta and Az.
Why would they do that? Why would she do that?
Because Nesta has the Triari thingy, so she has like the mask, which ends up being part of this whole thing, right? So the mask.
Where's Farrah in all of this?
She's
and
just
Reese?
out there with her kid.
Because she was pregnant. Like
that wasn't during her pregnancy, was it?
No, but I'm saying like ever since she got pregnant, she's just been like
now she's a mom.
She's a mom.
She's a mom now. She's painting in a
Oh,
corner.
that's sad.
She's shelved. Like
Nesta's main character now.
I can't believe that. Nesta's the worst.
So here's something I'm gonna just silent it real quick. Nesta being like her and Bryce are like trying to like. Well, Bryce is like, are we gonna become best friends?
No, Bryce is hostile towards them at the beginning of the book.
The beginning, but as they keep talking, she notices Nesta's like a good person, quote unquote. Yeah, I know.
Nesta and her are just like two shitty
Here's what
fucking pieces of cheesecloth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cheesecloth.
Cheesecloth.
She brought out the cheesecloth.
Yeah. Here's what I wanted. I wanted
useless.
Either
except for one reason.
Making cheese.
Making cheese.
Maria, go ahead. Ignore her.
I'm sorry. I'm lost. I lost it.
What did you want to happen?
I wanted either to Bryce to end up with Prince Idas, the little Prince of Hell thing.
Prince of Hell.
Or
not Hunt?
No.
Oh.
No.
Hunt is the most bland thing on the planet. He's the most bro dude. I would have loved it if you drop one more thing, Zena, I swear.
Just let it go.
I would have wanted her to end up with Asriel. Because they had this kind of
was
moment
cool, like,
in the caves. Because Asriel also has the Truth Teller, which is one of the swords that's part of this three thingy, right? These when her dagger and his sword get put together, it like opens that big ass like portal thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you have the dagger.
Does she still have the horn?
Sword. Her horn is in her back. Remember, it's tattooed into her. I was like, ooh, let's
And it didn't happen?
And no.
It just fizzled.
See, this is what I'm talking about. When
wait till I tell you Hunt's backstory.
I say this. I say this.
Are her and Hunt still together in this book?
Yes.
Okay.
They are.
I say this all the time. The theories were better than the book. People came up with better theories than the book. Now, this is a crossover, and while I think it should have crossed over into Throne of Glass as well, had Aelin and her fucking crew come in, I understand.
Don't they mention someone from the Throne of Glass books?
So the descendants are there.
Yeah.
So like
Brannon or something.
So in Throne of Glass is a little spoilery. Aelin is like a fire, like her magic is fire, right?
Ooh, Lydia.
Lydia's her descendant.
Oh.
So like there in Rune is Reese is just like in theory Reese's descendant. Like there's descendants.
How?
Like he's like a knight prince. He looks just like Reese.
So then, no, I know he looks like Reese, but how did it?
I don't know. That's the thing that's not
okay.
That's never again not fucking talked about. It's just all like ancillary in the stars. Like doesn't fucking make sense.
The drugs gone. Synthetic drugs are all gone.
That's not a thing.
Okay. It's not even
what they're doing now is trying to find. So there's like a parasite in the water. We find that out that the Asteri have put a parasite in the water that basically forces them to give up their magic to do the drop.
Remember how we do the drop thing in the end or what?
They do. The Asteri's gone at the end.
This is the last book, right?
This is
I guess it's the last book in this plot line.
Okay.
So the Asteri put like parasite in the water to force everyone to have to give up part of their magic to feed the Asteri. Right. So part of this also, Hypaxia, which is like the witch queen, she gets dethroned in this book. That doesn't matter, I guess. So she is tasked by Bryce to find a antidote or like a vaccine for it, or whatever.
Sure.
So she does that. That's how they ended up finding out these extra powers, because when you take this cure for this parasite, you get to tap into the power that you've always had. So like Lydia, when she takes hers, she now turns into this elemental like fire magic that she knew was always dormant in her, but
that's kind of
couldn't access until she took this antidote thing.
Okay, let's go through some of the problems.
All right, here we go.
Are ample.
Everybody buckle in.
It's a fucking list, man.
Oh my god.
We cannot go through all of
those.
those.
Numbers? How much?
I mean, there's more
cannot
than
do
that.
every single one, Erica.
No, we have to go through all of them.
We got to do this.
I told you dissertation.
This is gonna be a 3-hour episode.
Nesta feels.
Akatar was 2 hours.
I felt like Nesta felt flat. I felt like Nesta didn't feel like Nesta.
Nesta didn't feel like Nesta.
She was dead and boring and like You know,
she was a companion on the walk.
They were basically two bitches trying to out-bitch each other.
Yeah, and Az in the back being like, okay,
whatever. I thought the dialogue was fucking terrible. That's an opinion, but
light it up, Bryce.
I felt like Bryce was like chronically online with some of her like dialogue. Like,
this is how I feel Sarah J. Maas
chronically online.
Like she was saying like phrases that I was like, what? Like that feels like a little too new age.
This is how I feel about alpha holes and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
She said alpha holes a lot.
Said alpha
like
hole.
it's just so. Lame.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was too.
It's
it was
cringy.
too like that. I don't think Cassian would have let Nesta do this by herself.
He wasn't in there at all.
I know. I think he would have gone with Az.
Yeah.
They're still
so
together?
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
They're mates.
Ethan and Therion's storyline was. I think every single person that read this series, whether they liked it or not, like Ethan and Therion's storyline was irrelevant.
Well, Ethan becomes Prime.
You could have taken the entire storyline out of that book, and it would not
Therion's,
not affect the storyline whatsoever.
I mean, I guess his connection to the River Queen and asking her for help.
Even
that
though, like you could have removed that, and it would have like been fine.
Yeah, because Lydia works for the River Queen, so yeah.
Pollux, which is like the bad guy, Lydia's baby daddy.
No, that's not her dad. That's not their dad.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Who?
The dads of the twins is another person from the Shifters. It was a ritual they did when they were younger.
Oh, you're right. Pollux reminds me of a Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
I hate that name.
Pollux
reminds me of disease.
Poliwhirl.
This is a phrase that Nesta said. I've been in the Fae realm long enough. Back in my day, like she said that I think like 3 or 4 times.
Wait, what did she say?
She said I've been in the Fae realm long enough to know. And I was like, that felt like great grandma Nesta being like, back in my day. Like
I always forget they were just normal humans.
Yeah.
It was fucking
How
terrible.
long has she been Fae to be saying back in my day?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. 3 super trained Fae warriors are getting owned by this worm that an 18-year-old girl killed.
What?
Oh yeah, because Feyre just kills the worm.
Feyre
can't even read.
Feyre murked that worm, and these very, very well-trained people cannot fucking take this thing down.
There's worms?
Yeah.
Just tremors?
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. You have to keep looking at your freaking time. Baby, you have a thing from like book 1 and 2, not book 3.
I thought maybe it would follow.
One of my questions was this supposed to make me like Az more? Because it didn't.
I still like it.
Hunt talking about winged kids when Feyre couldn't handle a winged birth.
When did Hunt talk about winged kids?
He said something about like having kids with her.
One kids with Bryce.
What were they doing this
That's
book?
a plot hole.
Were they fucking?
Mm-mm.
Is there any sex in this book?
Her reunion with Rune was astronomically more emotional than hers with Hunt.
Yes.
They literally look at each other and go
cry.
like, sup, bro? Like they
Her
don't
and
hug
Hunt?
each other.
Yeah.
Like
no, Hunt cries his eyes out seeing her. Hunt is like, oh my God, you're here. She's like, sup, guys?
Like it was just like
she walks in with a quip because like they are somewhere. I can't remember where they are.
Do they love each other? Like at the end, do you feel like a
No,
I don't feel it. I haven't felt this since book 1 at all.
That's wild.
That's
Because
amazing.
usually Sarah J. Maas is pretty good at like the relationship.
I think we
building.
felt that with Rune and Lydia, especially in book 2.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about book 3.
I wrote some notes here that were just like everything sucks. Like everything feels hollow. Nothing has any emotion. Bryce feels different on every page. She has a different personality at every single turn. People said Lydia carried this book.
She did.
Which I said this to you earlier. I thought that was interesting. So Lydia and Rune, they like have this great romance in book 2, and I think everyone like is still high on those vibes.
Was she the hind?
The hind.
Yeah.
So she saves Rune, risks her life to save Rune.
Well, basically dies.
Rune's pissed at her still for lying to her. Rightfully so, pissed at her. And she's like, I just want like you to live, and she saves him. Then she gets like kind of put in like a coma type thing for saving him.
To regenerate her heart that basically
she wakes up. Rune is ready to be bygones. Lydia wakes up and is like, no, I'm actually mad at you now because, and it's just like, what the fuck do you mean, Lydia? And this is supposed to be the best romance in this book. Is this fucking terrible?
It's
like,
the will they, won't they thing.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And then she just has 2 random fucking kids.
Yeah, so she wakes up. So they're on the
Like, get the fuck
what's
outta
it
here.
called? That ship at the.
I don't fucking know. It doesn't
Anyway,
matter.
it's a ship that they're on, and she wakes up and she's like, "Where are we?" She's like, "We're on the ship." And she gets up, she bolts up, takes everything out of her arms, like all like the medical equipment, and rushes to the classrooms. And that's where we see her twin boys, and he's like, "You got kids?" She's like, "Yeah." And we find out that she's been a spy for the River Queen this entire time.
Yeah,
which is like, are you fucking kidding me?
She went to the River Queen when she was first pregnant because she knew she wouldn't be able to like keep this pregnancy. They were going to probably send her away and get rid of the kids. So she wanted to protect her kids. Goes to River Queen, barters with her, says, "Listen, I will do whatever you want. I will work for the resistance. Just take care of my kids."
Wow.
So this entire time, for the years that she's been behind, she's been at the same time working against.
But like, why?
The Asterian
Just don't
stuff.
There's just so many things.
It's just so stupid.
It's
All of
convoluted.
stupid. The question I asked myself throughout every probably 50 pages was, why didn't they just ask Jessica? Why didn't they just call Jessica?
Well, if Jessica knew all of this from the beginning,
knew
why
fucking
did this?
all of this.
That's crazy to me.
All of this.
Was there like some sort of thing where like she couldn't intervene or like
Hypaxia at one point kills the Underking, and she didn't mean to. She didn't. So now she's the head of Flame and Shadow, whatever it is. And Jessica was like, "You're just doing everything I said. I knew you were gonna do." And she's like, "What do you mean? Like,
so
if
is
you know everything, just say it."
Jessica like a witch?
She's a witch.
Oh.
But she was human.
Right.
Way back in the day in the first
she's
wars.
like 5 million years old.
She was tasked with protecting the books of the histories and all that stuff. So one of the princes of hell, Apollyon, one of those, was mad at her. He wants to know what's in the books. What are you protecting so much? She's like, "I'm not gonna tell you." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna curse you with immortality." So she's like, I'll just like keep protecting this for my entire life.
So then when she gives her life for Bryce's, how does she die?
So she gives her immortality to Bryce. She goes on to the afterlife.
Wouldn't you have done that before?
You're telling me you could just give that out?
Wouldn't you have done that?
Because so Hypaxia kills the Underking. Remember, for Bryce in book 2, or was it book 1, whatever she did to start to save everybody, she gave up her soul. Remember, to the Underking?
Okay.
As like a
a
thing.
So it has to be somebody who's soulless.
So now, because Hypaxia killed the Underking, that contract is null and void.
Okay.
So now she still has a soul in her death or whatever. And Jessica was like, I've lived my life. I've lived a full life. I'm just going to give my immortality to Bryce, and she'll come back to life. Guys, don't worry about it.
So she was never really cursed if she was able to give her mortality away.
It doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any
None of it makes sense
at all.
Okay, the wolves were kind of like, if you didn't read Throne of Glass, they pretty much were exactly like the witches, which is Manon's story. It was like the same fucking storyline, like
really?
carbon copy. The same fucking story.
Really?
It was bizarre.
As what?
It was bizarre.
I missed it.
Throne of Glass, there's like a secondary like storyline the same way as the wolves. It was the same.
She's just
like the exact same.
Like the old granddad.
Oh yeah.
Like, we killed the grand. There's a bad heir. She wants to keep all the power.
Yep.
No way.
It was the same fucking thing.
That's
like
insane.
almost word for word.
What?
Except it was just all witches.
Wow.
And no one's mad about this?
I don't get it. I don't fucking know. Everyone's just on the fucking vibes, I guess.
Oh my god. Guys.
Let's see. I didn't like how I mean, we could do it. I could do an entire
dissertation.
We are on like Bryce and Hunt and like their relationship, but like I felt like Bryce managed Hunt and was like, "Oh, little Hunt, like you do this," and Hunt was just like, "Me Hunt, me like Bryce, me
sad,
me do this, me
he just had nothing.
Me
scared.
You love me,
just
like he was just like he was nothingness." And you know what? It's not even. I don't even dislike Hunt. I dislike
That's not
Bryce.
His fault. He's just a chill dude.
He's just.
I thought you loved
just
Bryce.
a little. I loved
book
Bryce
1.
in book 1, but she's not.
She's changed since book 2.
She's not a party girl anymore.
Now I'm gonna put a pin in all this stuff.
Oh,
let's talk about Bryce.
Tangent number 1.
Because Bryce and everyone tries to like convince me that this isn't real. Like if I feel like people try to gaslight me on this, but like this is one of the reasons why I think this book is terrible. Bryce has a negative character regression. Her character arc through the 3 books goes backwards, first of all.
How so?
In this book, I don't even know who she is because it, like, So in the beginning, you get a grief journey, right? Like she loses her friend, she loses the guy that she's like interested in. Like you're going on this grief journey, and the way that SJM like wrote her in Crescent City 1 was amazing. Like she had all of this color and life, and like she's going through this journey of grief, and like this is how she's dealing with it, and like it's so human, and like. Maybe you could call her a little bit selfish or self-centered and like
human,
a party girl and like this, that, and like, her flaws were there. The point of a story arc is that you hit these points of conflict and you learn from them. And then at the end, you have this enlightenment, and that's like what brings you to like this new version of you.
The hero's journey, baby.
The hero's journey. Yeah. Bryce is a fucking asshole.
Did she really?
She was kind of a bitch before, but like in a lovable way.
But in a fun way.
Yeah.
And then her first conflict is obviously like her friends dying. And then the second conflict is like just like her shit with her brother and her dad and all that. Like, right? Like you have all these things. Third conflict, whatever. All of these things, she at the end, all she does is become more secretive, more bitchy, fucking treat her boyfriend like shit.
Damn.
And
who's just been tortured for
all
days.
She does is just self-sacrifice. And everyone's like, oh, well, no one gets mad about Aylin's in Throne of Glass. No one gets mad about like Aylin being like super secretive and this, that, and the other thing. Okay, she was always secretive. Bryce becomes secretive.
Yeah. Especially if we turn it back to book 1 and how upset she got at Danica's secrets.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
You're turning into Danica, which was a problem that you had.
So in the end of Crescent City 3, is there any like redeemable?
Well, she self-sacrifices.
It just dies. It comes back.
Of course, the ultimate sacrifice.
But she self-sacrifices because she's just like, I don't really want to fucking do this anymore. Oh. And I don't know what else to do here. I want to like. It doesn't feel like she gives a shit about.
She has
Miss World or whatever.
Midgard. She has this thing against.
It's Midgard. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
She has this issue against the Fae, being half human herself.
Right.
She grows up with this like issue with the Fae and how they are, and so when it comes to this point of saving the Fae and how the prophecy is that these two daggers, these sword and dagger, is going to reunite the Fae. She's like, what for?
Right.
They suck. Right. They keep humans as slaves. Like,
it's a good point.
What's the point of all that? Why would I save them?
Sure.
But then towards the end of the book, she starts thinking like, no, like what if this means like not just Fae, but shifters, but all Valbaran people, whatever, all like the Midgard people get brought together as one. So that's sort of that arc. Where she starts off
the real problem.
The Asteria are the problem.
She hates them, and then she's like, "All right, I'll rule for them." Like she
becomes a ruler.
She goes from being selfish to being even more selfish because she puts herself in a ruler's role. Like
and it says, "I don't want to rule anybody."
Does she free the humans?
You're self-centered.
She ends. I don't know if that's actually explained. What she does with like the power she has, but they're basically redoing a new government. Again, like I said, they have to find a way to power the city.
Like I guess the only redeemable thing is that she's like trying to make the world a better place. But like, is she? Because she's a fucking see you next Tuesday to all of her friends.
See you next Tuesday.
She's a see you next Tuesday to Hunt. So Hunt gets tortured for 3 weeks or a week straight.
From who?
And from Regulus and the Asteri. Finally, like sees him, and he's kind of apathetic because his ex-girlfriend
already went through
the one that enslaved
already
him, right?
did this whole
no. It's because of him going with her. Shahara
just like lost.
She lost the battle, and because she lost, he was taken as a slave.
Yeah.
So because of the first rebellion, he's like, this is a failed cause. I've seen it fail before. I just saw my girlfriend leave. I was a slave for years. I've been tortured for a week. What if we just don't have to do? What if we just find a way to coexist with it?
He's not even like being like combative with her. He's just kind of like
defeated.
apathetic.
He's defeated.
And she goes, do you even want to be here? Like, why are you here?
Yeah, thing. I need the Umbra Mortis. Whatever this guy is, I don't need him. I need the guy who's like made for this kind of world.
I would love for somebody to tell me how that moment is a positive character arc. Plot that on the fucking hero's journey for me.
She's a badass bitch and she wants
plot it on the I dare anybody to fucking DM us and plot that on a character arc.
Yeah.
A positive character arc and not a regressive one.
Yeah.
Because that is not a conflict. That is her just being a fucking bitch.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At the end of the day.
Especially if someone who's, again.
How does he take that?
I literally thought. He's sad. I literally thought we were going to see a Bryce heel turn. Like that's like I was reading. I'm reading this and I'm like, is she going to be bad?
That would actually
that would have been cool.
That would
I was
really
like,
cool.
Holy shit! Like she's gonna be bad.
That would have been cool. That Lydia comes in because main character.
How many of these things were like piling up in these like super aggressive like ways that she was talking to people and like being like she called crazy. Lydia's kids baggage.
Damn.
Like,
why did she turn into such a bitch?
And Emil back in book 2 was not fucking baggage. This random fucking
that's
kid.
Hard to read for me. I would be so annoyed.
It didn't even make sense. And like I think about this and I've thought about this a lot like back then. I genuinely think and like SJM has I think people don't realize like how many liberties she probably has as an author and like the amount of like hold she has on her like stories and all of that. Like she has 2 extremely successful series that like will stand the test of time, that will go down in history as like bestsellers for like, you know, for their genres, regardless if you like them or not. And this series, if this series came out first, I think it would be thrown in a garbage can.
Yeah.
I don't think a single publisher would publish this book.
Would
publish this series. I don't think it would take off. I think it's way too convoluted.
I was gonna say,
think
it feels insanely convoluted.
This series is just like, okay, you've had 2 really successful series. We'll let you fucking fuck around. That's what that is.
Do you think if we had less characters, it would have been?
No, I don't think the characters are a problem at all. Because Throne of Glass has a ton of characters.
I think there's still too many, and she's just introducing more for that. Don't have a purpose.
The problems aren't the characters. The problems because people like the characters. That's why people like this series
for no reason.
But the problem is the story. The problem is 100% the story.
Well, that's true too.
So what I think actually happened in this book is there's a couple things. I think that she told her editor to go fuck themselves. Like, I think that she just wrote whatever the fuck she wanted to write.
Yeah.
And her editor did not reel her in. That's what I personally think. I don't have any evidence of that. And what I also think happened is I think that there was a lot of rewrites. And the reason I say that is because, one, there was a lot of grammatical errors. There was a lot of punctuation errors. There were a lot of actual like formatting errors. And I know from writing my own book, when you go and rewrite scenes, that's when those happen the most, because you like are fucking around with stuff and then like elements get like left behind, or this gets left there, and like because you were reading, you know what I mean, and then you've read it 6 times and like you just move on from it. Those, I find that was where a lot of like the formatting errors like happened in my books and like whatever. I very, very fully subscribe to, I think that this book was rewritten a lot. Now, when it comes to all of the formatting, grammatical, all of that errors, this is disgusting to me because, again,
disgusting.
How many people probably read this book? How many fucking people should have read this book with the amount of budget that was behind
with
it?
QC in mind.
How are you giving me? And then you add in that there was 5 versions of this book. That they sold with bonus with 5 different bonus chapters.
I hate that.
You know people are going to buy all 5 of those books.
I hate that.
All 5 of these books have these formatting and grammatical and fucking literal. You saw like rogue exclamation part or rogue like quotation marks. Like,
that's wild.
There were spelling errors.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was wrong farthers. Like, it was bad. It was bad. Like, and you're telling me that this person, Just J.M., is like one of the like highest grossing paid authors, and you're giving me this fucking garbage?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the
It is
Get
not.
the fuck out of here.
I think the whole point too is just like the convolution is the most important. Like I think we like
there's
lost
so much we haven't even talked about.
The main story, it just seems like it fell to the wayside and like kind of made its way back a little bit. But it could be so simple. It could be like Asteri, bad people came in, hurt humans. These are the people underneath them. We need to stop Asteri. It's just
once and I think I said this for book 2. I don't like the crossover.
Yeah.
I think that's where things got, like as Erica says, lost in the sauce. I think just connecting the two worlds, the Triari,
I think we're just trying too hard to make it.
It just felt too much and too convoluted. And I'm like, if we just boiled this down a little bit,
feels forced.
It felt a little
You're
forced.
right though. There was like a lot of different like people, like Cormac and like that whole like Sophie and like
just seemed like a lot of
random fucking things.
Like, so we find out Hunt's backstory too. Which Hunt is,
which I thought was interesting.
I thought it was, but I'm like, damn, that's all we get.
There's nothing more. Fury gets written off like she had a fucking.
Yeah, she just comes. She got
written
Juniper,
off
like, hey, glad you saved us all.
She got written off like she had a problem with Alyssa Milano. She literally it was like she got written off the show. Like it was so
honestly,
fucking wild.
It feels that way.
Hypaxia solved this fucking super intense problem nobody has been able to figure out
thank you
for thousands of years. She solved it like it was her chem homework.
Who's that?
Hypaxia is that Queen of the Witches thing, and she found the cure to the parasite.
Right.
By taking the blood of a Reaper, right? Which Juniper just happens to get.
But like nobody knew any of this stuff, and it just randomly falls in your lap. Let's also remind ourselves that all this happens within 10 days.
Is that true?
That's insane.
Yes.
That literally 10 days?
Yes.
That bothers me so much.
It might be 7. It might be 7.
It bothers me so much because I hate the idea.
Wait, you mean all 3 books?
No.
This
like
book 3.
Timeline.
Jesus
book
Christ.
3. Book 3 happens.
Everything happens in
7 to 10 days.
A week
Well,
or a
you gotta
half.
get to it, man.
Right, but
Bryce's dad is just a fucking random asshole. Like there's no backstory to him.
What do you mean, the Autumn King?
Yeah.
He's always been an asshole.
I know, but there's not like I thought there was something more there.
Nah,
Like,
he's just a dick.
a fucking dick.
He's just a fake dick.
Yep, just dick. The mask. Nesta had the mask is supposed to like take you over.
Yeah,
and,
the way that she can just like put it on, take it
she
off.
She
like,
just fucking took it on, popped
same
it
with
off,
Hunt.
like
Hunt
whatever.
could use it too.
What else do we got here?
Oh, the whole them merging their magic and during sex. That's why he was able to like go in there in the end and
makes
save
no
her.
fucking sense.
Because so when they had sex, his thunder, her starlight kind of combine. They sparkle, right? They sparkle together, and so he uses her starlight at the end to
wrong book.
propel himself into the black hole to get her back.
So they can regenerate limbs, but Prithians, who are supposed to be more powerful, can't.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Like there's just so many like Rhys and Rune were supposed to like be. There's supposed to be a connection there and never got explored. It was just like, oh, they kind of look alike.
Yeah,
like it was like all
or
those.
Just like, and they were like, oh, this story has been passed down through all the generations of this, and then like Azrael just knows. Well, must have gotten lost because Rhys was never told this.
It's just like
it's like okay.
I have this written down. Sorry to go back to this when Bryce tells Hunt to like get over himself. Imagine if Rowan, and this is not for them because they didn't read it, but imagine if Rowan said that to Aelin in Kingdom of Ash. Like just think about that if you're a Throne of Glass fan. Like she goes through a torture and like he would never fucking say that in a million years. But also you got Bryce like showering him and cleaning him in book 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you have this girl that is literally telling him like he
Get
just
over
got
it.
tortured. Get the fuck over it. I need you at full power.
Especially to be like your
how is
significant
that
other,
not
too?
a negative plot regression?
Yeah.
So, okay, now after all of that wonderful stuff.
Let me tell you why I hate it more.
What makes a bad book?
Yeah.
Right? Like I thought about this. I like
this should be its own topic.
I know, but like what truly makes a bad book? Bad plot development, bad characters, right?
Yep.
We've already talked about that the characterizations of a lot of these characters are all over the place. At bare fucking minimum, not good.
Yes.
Bare minimum, not good.
Oh,
the
true.
plot we've already discussed. There's a lot of holes.
There's a lot of stuff I haven't talked
There's
about.
a lot of things that are confusing that like doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of stuff that like, why did this happen? Why did this not happen? We just talked about it in an episode of Dungeon Crawler Carl. You can answer some of those questions.
Yes.
It's just whether you're doing it or not.
Right.
Lack of pacing. is another thing that people fucking hate.
The pacing of this book was just annoying.
The pacing of this book was insane. The
fact that it was like, what, 200 pages of them going to those caves?
It was insane. It was like, so fucking crazy.
Her, Nesta, Asriel walking through these caves forever. And there's like
for 200 pages?
Basically, pictures of the walls are telling the whole story of all of this, right? But she's not telling Nesta anything. She's just like saying like, oh, that means all of this.
This sounds like my nightmare.
It's so bad.
How do you read that and not get bored?
Inconsistent.
I was very bored.
Inconsistent world building. I think that this is probably like the softest one to like my claim for this is a bad book. I don't think the world building was necessarily like bad per se, but it wasn't great. Like there was still a lot of like holes of like, well, what does this mean in terms of like this to Prithian or this to,
do you think
you know
that
what I mean? Like there was
just urban fantasy, it lends itself to having that problem?
Yeah, but then it like, you know what I mean? Like there's all the questions about like, okay, well, what about like what happened in these other worlds that like the Asteri ate and like
we'll never know.
The Umber King and like, or not the Umber King, the Under King. Like there was just a lot like, oh, the Mystics.
Yeah, they know everything.
The fucking Minority Report Mystics. It's like the same fucking thing. Like we're like all of this stuff there was just like too much.
Yeah.
I think there was too much world building.
Okay.
And I think that's like where the biggest problem was.
Especially if the Princess of Hell knew everything from the jump, why didn't they just say it?
Something that you talk about a lot, lack of emotional response. I think anger is not the response that you should have while reading a book. Like,
no.
I mean,
like
we created
fury,
our rage read stuff,
but like I think a positive or like at least I don't know. Like some people like to be sad, I guess, when they read. But
yeah,
like
some people like to get sad.
I like that.
Do you like to be angry when you read? So
yeah.
And then
unless I'm angry with the character, like there's a reason.
Yeah, there's a
I'm
reason
angry.
for it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately poor editing, which I already said that I think
for me as
there
a reader,
shouldn't be that many errors.
It's harder for me to see that because I don't really focus on the grammatical errors.
Yeah,
my brain just slides it over. So if I see an extra quotation, I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. Someone misprinted, no big deal. But I don't think about the grammatical errors because I know I don't speak grammatically correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with those points.
What did you rate this?
I did not rate it because I didn't want to spoil that.
What are you gonna rate it?
I think I put this in the same boat that I had with Onyx Storm. Whoa. I just don't care.
So a 3?
So it's a 3.
2.
It's a 3.
Really?
2, I have to like really hate it. Like I have to like.
You didn't hate it?
No.
It sounded like you were bored though.
I was just bored. That doesn't mean I hated it.
Yeah.
I was just like, There was parts of it that I enjoyed. Like I think like I know Ethan's story doesn't matter, but I cared more about Ethan and like his dilemma about not wanting to be alpha but still being called to be alpha.
Yeah.
And it's Sabine being such a terrible like wolf alpha.
It sounds like it's 50 books in one.
I haven't
it's
even
a lot of books in one.
I haven't even talked about my like biggest thing.
Okay.
The Asteri. The villains, I don't know them.
Yeah,
they have like no page time whatsoever.
Yeah,
that's interesting because I felt that way even in book 1 and whatever I listened to a book 2.
But the most they had was
is
book
there
2.
more about the Asteri?
No,
like,
there's
what do
not.
we get about
There's
them?
really not. Like there's a couple of
I
conversations.
Just picture them as
I did have to Google
the Volturi, that's what I think of too.
I did Google it, so there's 7 Asteri, and they kind of like align to like the solar suns or something like that.
They all die in the end?
They all die.
Okay. Why did they do this?
I think there's only 3.
They're parasites. They need to live off of the land.
I think there was only 3 on-page deaths though. Like in the cave with Nesta and Az. There was another one. There was another one that was like before the big battle, and then Regulus, whatever his name is, and the rest of them just got sucked into the hole. The one before the big
battle was the one that Lydia sets on fire, right?
Yeah. But those are the only ones that you actually see die, and these are supposed to be like the most powerful,
like most ultimate.
Like they have killed and eaten 99.9% of the worlds that they've eaten.
If we think about it, they also are utilizing the wolves and the army as their muscle.
But why did they stop? So then why was Midgard? So if they were like going around eating all these things, like they landed in Midgard, why did they create like a civilization there? Like, we've got
continue feeding them.
To continue to feed them.
So remember the drop, right? Is when they send
take
their magic
starlight
down.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
Everyone thinks it's for themselves, so they can have like an afterlife.
No,
it's just feeding the Asteri. So they just created a society that continues
keeps
to feed it
them
until they figure out the whole issue.
And they live forever, right? I imagine
Mm-hmm.
Off of this,
but it's just like the villain is like I get it. They're like they are bad, but they're just like hollow.
In Akatar.
Akatar.
I just can't remember.
So that's King actually Hybern? That's a great bring up. Maeve in Throne of Glass is also like, I mean, she's bad. But like there was more connection. We thought there would be a lot more connections from Throne of Glass and like the Astarion, what Maeve was in Throne of Glass because they traveled worlds. But my biggest problem is like these villains are like soft.
What was Akatar's though?
They weren't that bad. It was just Hybern.
The King Hybern. He just wanted to control all the lands.
Oh, that's
what I mean. Like it's like not
For some
a good
reason,
enough.
I thought they had like a big bad. Like it would have been cool if like they had that big bad looming of the Astari. Like they were aware of it throughout Akatar.
Something.
I just it would have connected it.
Well, we do have our big battles. Like in book 1,
I still don't get how they're connected. Just through these rifts. That's it.
They're just it's like
I just feel like that's not a solid
all
enough
different
connection.
Worlds.
That's why I don't want that's why I wish it wasn't a thing.
Like it would have been cooler if they all shared some sort of an enemy.
So it would have been fucking sick if, and this is just like spitballing this, if Bryce traveled to multiple worlds to like collect like people to help battle the Astari with them.
Been cool. Like that
would have been cool.
Like different aisles.
She went to the different aisles to like
the Mayflower
Violet going to different aisles in Onyx Storm.
And then like you hit up Aelin and Aelin's like, yeah, I'll fuck a bitch up.
Like
and
a huge battle.
And then you get, and
that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Like it was just, and okay, then the last thing that we haven't talked about is the fucking black hole.
Maybe we're
they're all gone.
Oh,
the black hole. Like science tells us that black holes shred you to pieces.
Yeah,
but we don't know that.
That's just
so maybe
Bryce is just fucking chilling in this black hole.
Maybe there's another series coming, and the Astari. This is like the big bad. And it leads to like this black hole leads to a bigger like the universe essentially because I swear there's gonna have to be a moment where every single character comes together and we get this Marvel.
I wish
and like a huge battle. Like I just feel like that's what it's building.
We haven't even talked about Ethan and Therion's storyline.
We can.
I don't want to.
Okay,
but that's what I'm talking about. Like we're just talking about the main storyline that was bad. Never mind this like secondary storyline that was fucking atrocious. That like. Most people skip.
Was that through all 3 books? Or just came in on the
all
last?
3 books
came in.
Oh, yeah. This book had Therion's perspective. We didn't have his perspective in book 2, did we?
Which one's Therion?
The mer guy. Like the mermaid dude.
I think he showed up in the second book.
Yeah, he showed up in the second book.
Yeah. I think I wrote that down.
He's the one that would call Bryce legs.
I think this book is actually bad. You put together Bryce's negative like character regression. You put together all these other pieces and like categorically this book it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this real quick. I feel like I've been put in a slump with these books.
I know they took you out.
So we need to switch things up.
What are we thinking?
I want a thriller.
Oh, I'll do a thriller.
I've suffered enough, Erica.
She's like,
I've suffered enough.
Fair enough.
I
like a thriller.
I'll
do a thriller.
I want.
We were supposed to do Frida McFadden.
Frida McFadden, the housemaid.
Yeah.
It's gonna be turned into a show, so we should. But yeah, I wanna switch things up.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of a breather
Boost.
here.
I mean, Dungeon Crawler Carl was
fun.
fun.
That's why I had it last.
Yeah, smart.
I forced myself to read everything else first.
Smart.
And Dungeon Crawler Carl was last, and I was so grateful for it. But it's not enough.
Yeah, we gotta switch it up.
I need something substantial that's gonna get me back in the reading mood.
Where we each bring a book. My problem is finding a book under 800 pages.
Well, we can do those memoirs that you sped through.
Yeah, that's like too serious, some of them.
Okay.
But no, I'll find something. It's just, I love big, beefy books, baby.
The way you said it.
Okay, Erica, tell me you're done.
Wait, how? It's been an hour.
It's been an hour.
So I tried many times to get this all into like one reel of just like a highlight like of everything that I hated. And it was like TikTok is 10 minutes max, and I could not even get halfway through.
That's fair. Well, now you've done it. I'm proud of you.
And that was just listing
Have
things
you posted anything about not like, has anybody disagreed with you? That's my question.
Maybe not like, maybe they don't agree with me as vehemently, but to be honest with you, like I'm always that person that's like, if you enjoy this, like good for you.
Hell yeah.
Whatever. But again, I like reiterate, like you should be able to be critical of things that you like, even if you like them. And I think somebody who likes Crescent City, wonderful. I am so glad you did because I fucking didn't. Liking this third Crescent City book, you have to be able to understand that this book was not good and you like something that's bad, and like that's fine, but like I like Twilight. I think it's bad. You know what I mean? Like this book was not good.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to admit that it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't.
Erica's lost it. I'm with you. Are we done with Sarah J. Maas now?
It's just
Can we?
Yeah, we're done.
Can we be done?
We are
We've
done.
read it all, right?
We did it. No,
there's
more ACOTAR books coming.
What?
You won't do Throne of Glass.
No, there's more ACOTAR
what else
books
is coming?
When is that fucking coming?
Azrael's book.
That's never coming.
Big Dick Azrael, guys. Everybody's waiting for this Shadow Man's book.
It's never gonna come.
What do you
mean? It's been almost 4 years since we've gotten an ACOTAR.
Did you hear the ACOTAR show got
yeah.
Oh yeah, what's up with that?
Destroyed. I'm so happy.
So the blind items on it is that Sarah's a problem.
Oh, okay.
In the writer's room.
This keeps happening with these authors, huh? Damn.
Yeah, because or just people in general.
Think about what happened to Game of Thrones.
I get it though. I get it because when you write, it's your world. You fucking created that whole world. Now you got people coming in.
See, I think I would take a step off.
I know I would.
I would be like, but it wouldn't be do whatever the fuck you want to do with it.
Yeah. Don't connect to it.
I don't want to be connected to this
That's
whatsoever.
what it comes down to. That's exactly.
Like you want them to do.
Yeah. You either are an executive producer and you are making all of the decisions, or you are in writing the screenplay, or you are fucking out.
I'd be like, make me like a producer, but my producer credit goes as far as like, I'll help you if you have questions, but other than that,
like storyline questions,
like do your thing.
I think that's what J.R.R. did.
Yeah, I think so too.
He was kind of just like,
but
on
I think
set
he told
sometimes.
them what the ending was going to be, and people did not respond well to
it.
The only problem with that is the ending is fine. It's how they got there that was terrible. Genuinely, I think the ending was completely fine. I
knew that ending was coming.
I think it was fine.
It's just the way it was rushed. It was just rushed. That's it.
I didn't dislike the ending. It's just I didn't think
how we got there was terrible.
I thought there was better fan theories.
Of course.
And I thought there was better fan theories for Crescent City too. Like I saw people have these like really, really intense ones similar to Game of Thrones where I was like, this has to be it. This is so good. This is all of the lore is here, and it just didn't.
Did they end up like getting married in the end, or what? They were still together, like
they're still together.
Happy, joy.
The other part of this too that like I think is what's happening. Sarah J. Maas has a new editor. From some of her previous books, and she has stated in her interviews that she doesn't remember any of her details from books.
Whoa.
And that her editor like always just like ties things in for her.
See, there you go.
Oh,
that's a huge problem.
That's problematic for
me.
So
I think that with a new editor, all of her work fell apart.
That's crazy.
That's a blind
Where
item.
is this editor, and why aren't they writing their own books?
Yeah, that's
probably is.
All right. We gotta stop talking about Crescent City. On that note, if you got books you want to recommend for us to read in the upcoming months, hit us up on Instagram. Just look up books_n_Betches, BETCHES. Shoot us a DM. Click the link in the link tree if you want to join our Discord or subscribe to us on YouTube.
I'm sorry for this episode.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Now she apologizes.
I'm always the one apologizing. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you in the next one. Love you all. Bye.